Today's episode is brought to you by Destiny's Accessories, located inside of A.V. Lopez at 3831 Boca Chica Boulevard in Brownsville. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 4. Destiny Accessories has all the phone and tablet accessories you need, including chargers, screen protectors, wallets, clips, holsters, pop sockets, cases, and much more. Welcome back to Paranormal 956. My name is David, and as always, I am here with Bianca.
Hi, guys.
What are we talking about today, Bianca?
Cemetery. You didn't say which one.
No. So we're going to talk about the Brownsville Cemetery.
Okay. We're going back locally.
Local cemetery. So before we get into that, I do want to have a little bit of an announcement.
Okay. What, you're gay?
No.
Oh.
Not that big of an announcement.
Okay.
Bianca had her baby.
Oh, yeah. I already did, guys. I already did.
It's a little delayed.
Yeah.
A healthy baby boy. So congratulations.
Thank you.
So we should mention that
we're expecting baby shower gifts. Welcome home gifts.
Right.
No, I'm joking, guys. Joking. But
we should mention that we had prepared for there to be a little bit of a leave, right?
Right.
Your maternity leave from the show.
I still haven't gotten my check, though.
Right. It's in the mail, I'm sure. And so we had to record it quite in advance.
Beforehand, yeah.
And so things are going to be a little bit out of order because we have recorded the Mother's Day episode already.
Yes.
Because we knew what we were going to do there.
We didn't know when I was going to come back. Let's just say that, yeah.
And so
we didn't know if I was ever going to come back.
Also true. I was looking for new co-hosts. But luckily we didn't have to go there.
Right.
And so just so our fans know, some episodes may be a little bit out of order chronologically, but
or we mix up the dates. Yeah.
Right.
But just for now.
I'm going to be honest with you. We can be honest with our fans. We've
Right.
never been good at the dates or the number of our shows.
Or following the list that we have planned ahead.
We plan ahead and we replan and then we throw all of that out the window.
Right.
And so today's episode is the only thing I can count on is about the Brownsville Historical Cemetery.
Okay.
And so I actually went today, and this is, what street is that on? It's like, it's in the middle of downtown, kind of in the middle.
Not in the middle, more like on the...
It's in between Palm and 6th and 7th.
Yes.
So it's
like, what is it, Washington?
8th or 9th in Washington.
It's like near wherever they do the Sombrero Fest, guys.
Yes, it's not far from that.
Yeah, no. It's like a block away.
Yeah. And right in the middle of neighborhoods.
Yes.
Right on the Resaca as well. And so it says... So one of the things that's really cool to me, and maybe having grown up here and you actually don't live too far from there, maybe you kind of took this for granted, but that's actually a really pretty cemetery.
What?
Yeah, like it's got like statues and monuments and it's pretty. It's a pretty cemetery.
Okay, I'm not the one to review cemeteries, right? But
have you been there?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And
I
you weren't
don't
impressed.
go in there and like, this is so pretty. Like, this is like so aesthetic. No.
I don't know if I'm just a morbid person, but I spend a lot of time in New Orleans. And one of the things that I do when I'm in New Orleans
is stare at statues.
I go to cemeteries because it has like really nice cemeteries.
Well, okay. What makes a cemetery nice?
So a few things. The Brownsville one is got a lot of mausoleums. Okay. So like where my grandparents are buried in San Benito, it's just like tombstones on the ground mostly. Okay. So it looks like a people garden, right? Like they just planted people because all you see is the flowers and the rock. Right. But the Brownsville Historical Cemetery, there's mausoleums. So they're above ground in these little buildings everywhere.
Okay, so you like the hotel looking.
I guess they look like it looks like a little neighborhood of the dead. I guess, right?
Okay.
I mean, I never thought of it quite like that. But there's a cemetery in Louisiana or New Orleans, and it's called Lafayette No. 2, I think.
Okay.
And do you know who Anne Rice is or was?
No idea.
So Anne Rice wrote Interview with the Vampire Lestat, the Salem Witch Trials. She wrote all these books.
Okay, I'm not into blood sucking.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
So she was into vampires way before it got cool, like with Twilight and all of that.
Right.
She was doing this. I became aware of these books like in the 80s, so maybe she wrote them even before that.
Yeah, you see, no.
Yeah, they're old books. And so the way that she would write, she wrote a bunch of books.
Okay.
She would go to this cemetery, the Lafayette No. 2 in New Orleans. She's from New Orleans.
Okay.
And so she would go and she would see this cemetery or this mausoleum. And then she would work backwards on what kind of person would be buried in that grave. And so, so I've been to this cemetery that she would go to.
Okay.
Right. And so the Salem Witch Trials, she went to this kind of a monument. It's a big box and it has it looks like drawers in it. Right. And so the actual cemetery, the actual grave.
Right.
Was this huge fire in New Orleans way back like in the 1800s where all of the firefighters died because it was such a bad fire.
Uh-huh.
And they buried them all in this same humongous box together, right? So there's like, they have their own little rooms, I guess, in this big box. Their names are on there.
Okay.
And it's a monument to this horrible event in New Orleans. And so Anne Rice goes and she sits in front of this grave, right? This huge grave with like 20 men in there, right? And she works backwards. And so she came up with her own version of the Salem Witch Trials where all these witches are buried in there instead of the firemen. Another book that she wrote is called The Vampire Lestat. And he's this...
thoughtless vampire.
Lestat, not less thought. Anyway. And so his mausoleum is made out of metal, which is like super weird, right? And so she came up with this vampire based on that. And so anyway, it's a very pretty cemetery.
She's a very creative person.
She's a super creative person. Okay. But this cemetery in Brownsville reminds me a lot of that. Like it has those mausoleums.
Yeah, the rest of the cemeteries are pretty basic.
Yeah, it's not like that for sure. So anyway... So a lot of the history here in Brownsville. So like I said, I went today and there's new graves there, like right now.
New?
New.
Who the fuck is getting buried there?
I don't know, but I saw a mausoleum today.
So what, you go every weekend or what? What's...
So I guess you should know.
Oh no.
That this is a very popular Pokemon location.
Sure. Okay, yeah, makes
sense.
I
play Pokemon
right
at the cemetery because it's very historical, right? So all of the historical signs anywhere, not just in a cemetery, but anywhere, is going to be like a Pokestop in the game.
Oh.
So like TSC's full of them because of all the history that's at TSC, and the cemetery is part of that, like with the stops. Anyway, and so I went today. There's this huge mausoleum, and they have people's gravestones where they're like their death date isn't there yet. So like they're still going to be buried there.
So they already rented out the spot?
Yeah. So look, I took a picture. So you can see the born date, but then there's no death date.
1941? So it would be 60, 70, like 80 some?
Yeah, so they're not even dead yet. And then you see...
No, it's not 80 some. It's like what?
From the 40s?
Yeah, 1941.
Yeah, it would be 83 years old.
I guess.
But you see next to that, there's like a completely blank. Yeah. So like somebody could be born and still be put there.
Oh. So how much? No, I wouldn't be buried. I don't want to be buried in there.
So I go back and forth on how I want to be buried. I would say this is like a really posh way to do it, I would think. Like in a mausoleum. Know what I mean?
Sure. I mean,
my grandparents are my grandparents on my dad's side are buried in a mausoleum. And you know, they came from money, so that was like a in my mind it's like a fancier thing. Right? So in addition to that, they have a
But
whole...
isn't it like less expensive?
I'm not
like
sure
for
about
the spot.
that. I'm not sure about that.
You would think like instead of digging a hole.
Right. So there's a few reasons it could be cheaper.
Right.
Is because of it being a room like that, you can put a bunch of people in there.
Right.
Like you
get more space, like more.
The ones in New Orleans that I was talking about, you have generations of people in the same one. And the way that they have it set up inside of the mausoleum, it's like bars that go across and they lay the body on top. And as it decomposes, it falls down.
Oh.
And then they put another body on top and it decomposes and it falls down.
I thought it was just like, you know how they cremate the bodies?
Right.
Like put the ashes in there or something.
So you could do that.
Some of them are like that, right?
Yeah, some of them are like that. Actually,
yeah, I remember watching. What's it called? It was in Vampire Diaries.
I don't know. But I took a picture. I took this. One of them was open today.
Oh shit!
And they had like, I don't know if they stole the other ones or if there's just one in there.
What do you mean they stole the other ones?
Like it could have had like 8 of them in there. That's a lot of room to have them, and there's only one in there.
Are those hot Cheetos?
Are they?
I don't know. I think they're hot fries. Very Valley-like. Yeah.
Yeah. That's weird. I didn't even see that.
What do you pay attention to? Anyways.
So I was looking at the dead person in there.
What? Oh, there's a dead person in there? Where?
That's a dead person.
Like the ashes?
Yeah. It's in a jar.
Oh.
And then they put like
hot Cheetos on the side.
I guess I don't know what this other bag is now that you mention that. It looks like,
I didn't see that.
Looks like carne guisada.
Fajitas.
Which would totally be
a
Valley thing too.
Yeah.
So this is what it looked like from the outside.
So he just had it open?
It was open. I don't think it was supposed to be open, but it was open. So this cemetery has a lot of history.
Right.
And so one of the things that is also very interesting is a lot of stuff. There's a lot of historical, like Valley famous people. So Jim Wells, there's a county named after him, Jim Wells County. He's buried there. The Uturias, who have this huge ranch north of Harlingen.
I don't know who the fuck you're talking about.
Well, these are historical people here in the valley.
Sure.
Right. So Jim Wells County's way up north. Not way up north, but it's like near Victoria or somewhere like that. And so he's buried here. The Uturia is a ranch that's north of Harlingen. These people are buried there. A lot of people. They used to also have the Masons. They're buried there. The largest monument south of Corpus is there. And his name is Jose Fernandez.
Swear to God, I was going to say Jose.
Yeah, well.
I thought about it. You see, my psychic powers are kicking in, David.
Yep.
Anyways.
Yeah, so
I should have said it. I don't know why I hold back.
So there's another really interesting thing. And so the cool thing about Brownsville in general is we have so much history here that we can kind of look back and see, you know, the racist past in some aspects.
Right.
And then also like the different classes of people. Right.
Okay.
And so I think it's pretty well known about how, like in the black community, that they have like a kind of like a racism against inside of themselves, like the dark skins against the light skinned blacks. And we kind of have that same kind of thing with Mexicans.
Right.
Right? Like the light skin Hispanics and the darker, right? Like we have the same thing, right? I know nobody talks about it, but we do. Well, there is a place in this cemetery called Potter's Field. And so when you're at this cemetery...
With a bunch of potheads?
I don't know why it's called that, actually. Let me see. It doesn't say why it was called that.
Anyways,
so
I would imagine.
So there's a resaca right next to it.
Yes.
Right? And the land is kind of high where the cemetery is.
Right.
And it dips down.
Like a hill, yeah.
Yeah, there's a hill there. Well, the lower part is called Potter's Field. And so people weren't really supposed to be buried there. But the poor people did. And so the poor people would be buried there so that they could be in the nice cemetery.
But in the shitty side.
Right. And this is what happened during Hurricane Beulah back in like 1967. So even before my time, Hurricane Beulah was this huge hurricane that hit the valley that my grandparents used to talk about. Like it traumatized them the rest of their lives. Apparently it was horrible.
Okay.
Well, when Hurricane Beulah hit Brownsville, the people that were buried in what is now called Potter's Field, the graves came out of the ground and floated down the resaca. And they found these graves or the caskets all over town.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a sign there that says that they prohibited people from being buried there in 1984, which
after that,
kind of weird because I was like 9 years old already when they stopped burying people there.
So if a hurricane passes, there's still bodies there?
There is still bodies there, yes. Yeah, so I know that this says that they prohibited people from...
bullshit.
But there's people buried there. Like people are being buried there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how current it is, but it's definitely got a lot of people there. So in addition to this kind of secondary lower class of people here, there's another cemetery pretty much touching. Like there's a wall in between.
There's another cemetery?
It's the Hebrew cemetery.
What?
And it's completely gated. So this is it. This is the sign outside.
Oh, it's inside the cemetery?
So when you go in from the front, and you know how you can go all the way to the end and then you turn back to get in the street? Where that wall is, there's a cemetery right behind that.
Okay.
It's much smaller. It's much cleaner. Like the regular historical cemetery has a lot of vandalism, right?
Right.
And so from what I've heard back in like the 60s and 70s, there was a lot of gang activity and like the gangs would just party in there and do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Which seems super strange to me. But apparently it's true.
It is.
And then you sound like you have like intimate information.
No. I mean, I've heard.
What did you hear?
The party going on. I mean, you're talking about like, how old am I? Like even 12 years back.
Really?
They're still going on.
Really?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I don't know how many people down here know, but you know that famous statue of David that's in Italy? The naked guy? The really tall naked David?
No.
No? Okay.
Never seen you naked.
Not me. Not me. Not me. But there's a statue, a famous statue called the Statue of David. And I think it's in Florence, Italy.
Okay, I gotta see a picture because if not,
I'm gonna show you.
It better not be a nude of you, David.
Can you imagine?
Because I'm pretty sure I've seen it. I just don't know.
Yeah, for sure you've seen it. And so.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that statue was carved out of a rock somewhere in Europe. There is a statue in the historic cemetery of Brownsville of an archangel with these big wings that's carved out of that same rock.
Okay.
So back during this time where the gangs were and so forth, they broke one of the wings off.
Right.
And the Historical Society in Brownsville has that wing. And that wing alone, because of where it came from, is priceless.
So I can just take it and they wouldn't charge me anything?
Not worthless. Not worthless. But because of it being the same rock as the Statue of David, it's like
no fucking way.
Super valuable. Right? Which blows my mind that people were just vandalizing stuff like that.
Yeah, shit. It blows my mind too.
The other thing,
who would have thought of that?
Yeah. I don't know. So I don't doubt that it's priceless. But I do wonder who's buying rocks from.
You know what I mean? Autistic people?
Maybe.
Like rocks.
It's true. They do, yeah. So that's something super famous here. Let me show you this picture too before I get sidetracked.
So just because it's from the same rock?
Yeah. So this is one of the graves in that other cemetery.
What the fuck does it say?
I don't know what that says, but that's in Hebrew.
Oh.
And so...
Can you Google translate it? It doesn't let you?
Maybe. I don't know.
Try it.
Let's see. Anyway, so one of the things that I was curious about...
Yeah, I wasn't there when that happened.
No, I understand. But what I mean is, we have all this vandalism in the historic cemetery. And then right next to it, we have that Hebrew cemetery, the Jewish cemetery.
I didn't know about that.
And I wonder why it wasn't also vandalized. You know what I mean? Like,
so here's the thing. Mm-hmm. How can I say it without sounding like?
Oh no, you're making
like I was involved. Anyways, I wasn't.
Right.
Allegedly, let's say that I was there hypothetically, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say that you would notice people that work there taking more care of that spot.
Oh.
Like maintenance wise.
So that makes sense because...
And all that.
You need an appointment to get in there.
Yeah.
So it's like... But I mean, I feel like if you could break into the historic cemetery, you could break into that cemetery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anyway, it seems a little weird that there's... So I did Google Translate it. And I don't know if it makes sense. Somebody named China, looks like. But... So the reason that we're covering this...
I mean, they got the dates right.
Yeah, numbers are easy to translate. Right?
Yeah. Born, died. But it doesn't say the year. I mean, it does say the year, but not the day that they were born.
Yeah.
It says born 1862 and then died April 8, 193.
What?
You read the that's what I understood from the bottom part. The other ones, I don't know.
Yeah, so 193 is not a date. Let me see what it looks like it says. Okay, so it says this is all it says. It's in English. This part says their name. And the first name is like Chava, which I've never heard that name. And then I'm probably going to screw this up, but the last name looks like Ladabom.
That's what it said on the Google Translate. Laban.
And then it says died December 25th, 1934.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Which is weird.
Because Google translated to another date.
Well, the thing that's weird is that Jews don't celebrate Christmas and this person died on Christmas. And Jesus was a Jew. And then
we're not going to spiral into that.
And then it says age 72 years. So I guess you just have to do the math, and because they didn't put the date that they were born, it just says when they died.
See, Jewish people.
Yeah, I guess that's how they work.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we have that. We have all these historical people. And the reason that we brought, or I guess the reason we started with this, we're going to do our Mother's Day episode next week. Like I said, we recorded that earlier.
Yeah.
But then we're going to get back on track. And we're going to cover one of the more famous people buried at the cemetery.
Is the little girl?
Yes. Daisy Stark.
That's her name? I don't remember she had
name. Her name is Daisy Stark.
I just know that till this day, like some people still leave like toys or whatever.
Yeah, I actually saw her grave today.
And I think it's you that it's the one going
All
every
by
weekend
me.
changing
Every week.
changing the toys and stuff.
So yeah, so Daisy Stark's actually a really interesting story. When I first heard
when you talk about it, not a lot of people like know the name, including me.
Yeah.
We just see like the grave with the toys and stuff like that.
Yeah. So she has she's like a superhero origin story.
Superhero?
Well, like she has a story on how she became the little girl running around downtown.
Yeah.
So it's not a superhero origin story, but like a ghost origin story.
There you go. The ghost. Yeah.
Of Daisy Stark. And so we're going to go next week, like I said.
Into detail.
We're going to do, next week is our Mother's Day. And then we're going to go into detail with Daisy Stark.
Yeah.
So we're back on track.
Somewhat, yeah.
Got back in the groove. We took a couple of weeks off.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it, but yeah.
Well, you were a little busy.
Right.
I haven't done shit. Well,
but my psychic powers are getting there.
You know what? So, I don't know if we've mentioned this on the air, but one of our viewers, or listeners, I should say, reached out to us, and she's a psychic.
Oh, that's true.
And so...
From all the messages, I don't even know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember her.
But hopefully we can get to know her a little bit more. I'd love to have her on our show. And maybe she can teach it. She knows a lot more about psychic stuff than we do.
Yeah.
That's not really our thing. We know ghost stories and...
focused on that. Yeah.
But we have interest.
Yes, we do.
And I think when it comes to the skill of being psychic, you're miles ahead of me. So I'm interested to see where you could go with this. Me, I don't know. I'm a real slow learner, so I might be
a few steps behind, but
yeah. But that's it for today. Like and follow us on all of our social media.
Yes, sir.
And we will see you all next week.
Bye, guys.